Hello everyone, this is Bobbin Threadbare, and welcome back to The Witcher 3. So as you might recall, last time we were on the trail of one Dr. Moreau, Master of Mutation, and it had led us to this sunken ruin, full of drowners, although I'm currently working on that part. Oh, come on. Reloading that crossbow takes way too long. Anyway, there's apparently an opening right over here. Should get in that. Oh-ho. Something back here. Along with a very convenient air pocket, and oh my. Quite a lot of cash. Ooh, dragon scales. And a locked box. I may have found the treasure before the hunt for a treasure hunt. The fact that I'm outside of the yellow circle really does imply that this has nothing to do with my current quest. But I think I'll keep this place in mind for later. And hey, there's an open portal down here. Now this looks relevant. Somehow it's keeping the water at bay.
Grave robber must have found something in Moreau's tomb to activate the entry portal. Wonder what surprises this place has in store.
Yeah, that is true. Someone did go and rob Moreau's grave. Or whoever that was. I think it was supposed to be Moreau.
Planted spikes. Sick sense of humor someone's got.
Okay. That looks like that's going to be troublesome. So how about we take a look around at everything else in this area before we bother with that difficulty. Alright, looks like there's a lower path there that continues forward for some way. A lower path that just triggered an autosave, in fact. And then there's this upper path, which leads back to a... Yep. Alright, so I think we just bypassed one of the traps that was supposed to be vexing us. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any loot along that path, so... Hooray! Now we can ignore it. Now that shows you the real value of falling off the side. Oh.
Liked cats.
Couple of magic panthers. Ooh, powered up my sword. Man, they've got some nice loot around here. And that looks to be just a hole. But there is something down here in the hole. That's new.
Blood-soaked. Grave robber was wounded while attempting the climb. Needed to bandage up. Managed to avoid the panthers at least.
Oh, I see. So they avoided the panther trap by climbing down the side of the cliff face that we just sort of walked across. They were wounded in the climb, needed to patch up, left some stuff behind as part of that, but otherwise continued onwards. Same as we're doing now. Yeah, never had ore drop spots in the game before. That is entirely new. Looks like we actually have to take the lower path here. Ah, that's what was stolen. Bits of it got left behind by the grave robber. Presumably. And it looks to be valuable too, because it explains the traps he set up to protect his... Yeah, the traps he set up to protect his laboratory. It's not just magical panthers, as it turns out. Ooh, turquoise armor die. Sadly, that stuff only works on the Grandmaster Witcher armor.
Not bad. Wouldn't mind having something like that myself.
Not that Geralt will actually use it. Nope, sadly, we're going to have to do this the Geralt way. And that is to find a bunch of these
Did it.
pads in the distance that you can shoot with a crossbow. And you'll note, by the way, that the game provides you with a crossbow, just in case for some reason you don't have one when you come into this area.
Interesting as places go. Seems someone put a lot of thought into its design. Should look around.
I mean, aside from being an elven ruin.
Intruder! You are not welcome here.
Yeah, figured as much.
Looks like killing the gargoyle is on my to-do list now. Damn it. Let's try and avoid that. Oh. Instant death. And just in time to give my Erendite another permanent boost. But yeah, that's why you need to kill the gargoyle.
Great. Portals. This just keeps getting better.
It's also why you need to provoke the gargoyle in the first place. But yes, we've got a whole bunch of portals on a whole bunch of levels, and we have to figure out which one we need to go through, because there's quite a few to choose from. It's not just the ones on this level, we can actually go up and down from here. At least I think we can.
Right. Now to find the next portal.
We can definitely go down from here, I know that.
Damn it. Back where I started.
Well, that clearly wasn't the solution. Perhaps it has to do with... Could be the chandeliers, could be the direction that the statue is facing. He is kind of looking at one of the portals, and it would be this one. And that does give us progress. And that one Actually, it looks like it's staring at a portal on the second row.
Alright, now to find the next portal.
Or perhaps it's more directly looking at the one on the ground floor. It's this one, maybe?
Damn it, back where I started.
No, not that one. I don't think I can get up to the second row from here. Alright, but if it's not looking at the one on the ground floor, then...
Damn it, wrong again. Could be some clue around here.
Yeah, just needed to double check. What happens if I enter the wrong portal?
Damn it, back where I started.
Absolutely nothing. Okay.
Alright, now to find the next portal.
Alright, so... what about that portal on the second row there? Just across the way? Oh, the one that's sort of blocked off. Which I can get up to if I climb down first. Yeah. Oh.
Alright, now to find the next portal.
Definitely made some progress there. Game had to load. This does appear to be a new area. So where is this statue pointed? Third row. Yeah, it's pretty clear this time. Gotta climb up. But of course, to get there, I need to climb down a bit first. Ah, no, there we go. This gets me where I need to be.
Must be where Moreau had his lab.
We made it. Good. Sounds like there's something moving around down there. Not sure I'd describe it as living just yet, but...
Guessing this man didn't come here willingly.
oh dear. Man in a bottle. Oh, Megascope crystal. That's a bit creepy. Yeah, apparently there are giant centipedes around here somewhere.
Crystals. Should mount them in the megascope. Missing 2 crystals.
Well, missing 1 crystal now. Let's go find the other one.
Intriguing as machinery goes, but how do I start it up?
Ah, there it is.
Preserved organs. Hope their donors weren't forced to give them up.
Kinda get the sense that they were. Oops. Alright, that's what I wanted to do there. That was one of those portal powering crystals.
Quite the library. Mostly tomes on mutations and genetics.
Which are mutations in particular? Fascinating.
This crystal must go here. All crystals in place. Show me what you got. Just need to pick an entry.
The 18th of Yule, year 1102. Today I begin my great life's endeavor, one greater and more significant than any I have thus far undertaken, for it relates to me personally, to myself and my son. When 15 years passed, a beast of the forest assaulted me. A witcher came to my aid, saved my life. I could not know that for said salvation, I would in the end pay by relinquishing any say as to my own son's fate. Had I the skill to turn back time, I would have done so, and perished rather than surrender to the Witchers my only son. But as it was, on the day when Jerome was taken, I swore an oath on my honor that I would recover my son. Today, following years of research and preparation, I have at last devised a device that allows me to study mutations. If the gods in their goodness grant me but a bit of favor, I shall find a way to reverse said mutations and restore Jerome to a normal life.
So, Professor wasn't out to enhance Witcher mutations, wanted to reverse them. Wonder if he managed, and if there's anything in it for me.
Observation 22. Despite applying a surfeit of toxic substances, significantly more than usual, the subject displayed no symptoms of overdosing. I believe this to be an effect of the mutations. Thus, a minor success. This mutation should allow Jerome better to tolerate toxicity. Observation number 30. The mutations do not set in at once. Curiously, they do not develop over a span of time. Rather, for a mutation to progress towards completion, the appropriate mutagen must be applied continuously. The subject does not bear this well, but I found a way to make the mutations less taxing, invasive. To the mutagen base, I add the albumin of a mutated giant centipede egg. Stored in a glass terrarium, the eggs do not develop, remain small. The eggs themselves are a sight to behold. Mutated, they are luminescent, emitting a wondrous glow. I can only hope my addition of the albumin will produce no significant side effects. Time will tell. Observation 58. Sometimes failure is the catalyst for success. I've discovered a method by which one type of mutagen may be transmuted into another through the addition of certain ingredients. This is a great day for science. In addition, I observed that today's dose of mutagens brought the subject to the brink of death. He then suddenly awoke, revived, his strength renewed. Not wholly, of course, but he did in a sense come back from the edge of death. Whether this is attributable to his mutations or to pure coincidence cannot be ascertained. I must conduct further experiments. Years of experiments, research, sacrifice, all for naught. I have failed to achieve my defined objective. Each mutation I applied to my subjects proved ineffective when applied to Jerome. What I meant to cure him of his witcherism, that which I meant to restore to him a normal life, only deepened his mutations, further augmented his speed and strength, rendered him yet more inhuman. It seems my son must remain a witcher forever. I have failed. The time has come to abandon this place. Return home to Lydia. She may yet deign to take me back. The contraption and mutagens I leave here. Let them wither and crumble. as did my dreams of regaining my son.
So the professor wanted to reverse the mutation's effects. Ended up deepening them. Stroke of luck for me. Could profit from his failure. So, Professor tried to neutralize the effects of Witcher mutations. Only managed to enhance them, though. Used the albumins of giant centipede eggs as his mutagen base. Need to go on an egg hunt.
Alright. And the egg hunt involves going into this little back corridor here.
Oh, great. She's not in a good mood.
Dang it. Got just close enough to nail my Quen shield. So yeah, the giant centipedes have a pretty predictable combat routine. You hit them 3 times, they curl up into a ball and then lash out. When they dig down, they very frequently jump up out of the ground. They do so exactly twice before coming out for real long enough for you to actually hit them. So yeah, fighting them is not really difficult so much as it is a chore. At least after you figure out how they work.
Sorry. Need your eggs.
Anyway, so that's the giant centipedes done. They are albino giant centipedes, especially mutated centipedes. Their eggs have to be around here somewhere. I just went the wrong direction there for a hot minute. Come on. Damn it. This is gonna take a while then. Certainly are creepy though. There we go. Well, let's continue down this path, because it apparently leads somewhere. Ah. To a different path into the lab. Apparently this Iron Maiden is where we need to put the stuff. Ah. Yep, opens up. And it does specify we have to have our clothes off.
No point going in wearing full gear. Gotta drop my armor, leave my weapon.
Alright, weapons too.
Professor's mutagens might work on me as they did on his son. Well, time to find out.
Yeah, this quest once again posits that Witchers are all children of surprise, who are claimed by other Witchers as payment for services rendered when regular coins are not enough. But that is something that is refuted in the book series. Anyway, so nothing happens because I've already got all the stuff that you get from Moreau's lab here. All of that middle row of mutations, all of that extra stuff on the side. I got to keep that when I went to New Game Plus. And this is when you would get it during the initial playthrough. It's basically a way to spend all of the extra levels you get from your DLC stuff when you have otherwise finished acquiring everything you want. Anyway, you know what? Why don't we go see Regis? We're in the neighborhood. But yes, just to finish what I was talking about earlier. So, in the, in one of the short stories, Geralt mentions that there's the law of surprise, and that is how we make additional Witchers, because occasionally the law of surprise gives us a kid whom you did not expect to have when coming home. But that is refuted by a later...
Some other place to meet.
Arcus Spores. But that is refuted and contradicted by a later short story. When the Queen Calanth says, there's no way you get enough Witchers just from the law of surprise. Especially since the mutation process, the training process of becoming a new Witcher is so freaking deadly. So many kids die from the process. How could they all be children of surprise? And Geralt says, you're right, they aren't. Most Witchers, himself included, are actually just unwanted children who are found abandoned, who are bought from their parents, who are bastards and orphans, and the idea behind the Child of Surprise is that hopefully one day a child will be born to be a Witcher and will not have to undergo the deadly training process. And that child is Ciri.
Regis!
Damn it. Locked. No way I got the place wrong. This is it. Gotta be another way in around here.
Probably that open crypt. Forgot to eat and perished. Now that's one hell of an epitaph. Oh. Got some bugs down here.
Plenty around here.
Dang it. You'll note, by the way, that Kikumors are poisonous. As they hit me, my toxicity meter keeps going up. But on the bright side, this does give me that slowdown. Makes it easier to dodge. But yeah, so in the books, most Witchers are not...
That's some stench.
Are not children of surprise, but in the game series, most Witchers are.
Great.
Well, that's what I get for killing a bunch of Kikimor eggs, I guess. Now the warrior has emerged. I didn't have to do this, by the way. There's no quest line attached to fighting the Kikimors. My current objective is to get into the crypt through the tunnels here. Crying out loud. Ah, hell. Yeah, when you get poisoned, you stop regenerating health. That makes these guys a little bit more deadly than your average enemies. Well, hopefully I don't have to retrace my steps too far to get back to where I was. Apparently I don't. Map had to catch up with what the hell was going on for a second there.
Some stench.
But yeah, apparently not sure if that was a quick save or an autosave, but either way, it was just before I started setting all the eggs on fire, so I've got exactly this one fight to redo. Lucky me. Nice. Even got myself a permanent charge. Hardly even touched me this time. Kind of wondering how to get to that container there. Climbing isn't an option, and
Someone placed an illusion here.
clicking on it is also not an option.
Interesting.
A Knight's Oath. Instead of having his likeness carved into the sarcophagus lid, he instead had a sword placed on it. Well, my sword now.
Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megascope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out. Abruxa had taken an interest in it.
It's Dettlaff's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kovinaris' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kovinaris never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kovinaris gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming a fragment of someone's life.
Any chance we might see what Dettlaff was doing just before he lost his hand?
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Dettlaff's hideout.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. I received it from a dear old friend. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their hosts, meaning you humans and the elder races, respect.
Respect? Meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food?
Precisely. And the reason why I, in turn, gave it to Dettlaff. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
Can't you just summon Dettlaff? You're both higher vampires, there's gotta be a way.
If I'm to be entirely candid, there is indeed one. But believe me, we will be better off never availing ourselves of it. It is a last resort. Absolutely.
Last resort? The hell? Why?
There is a being who can summon Dettlaff. Possesses the authority, even the power, to force him to appear in a given place. But the very act of contacting this being, well, it's akin to walking a slack line extended over a chasm filled with molten lava. An exercise as perilous to me as it would be to you. A risk I'm unwilling to take. I beg you, let's do it my way. It will be both quicker and easier.
Kovinaris spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess. Making a dose of resonance won't be easy.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Dettlaff's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one susceptible to visions.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. Unfortunately, all are pretty rare. There's Mamoon glands, but closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were cold to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
What was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned, him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would. With all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snifter of mandrake.
Rarely say no to a snifter.
Sadly, this is but a weak infusion rather than a proper distillate.
Even better. I remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
So, think you've set a nice little trap for me? Sorry. Want to get me to confess? Gonna have to try harder.
I love a challenge. In that case, my ears are cocked. What must I do?
How about you get the ball rolling? Reveal one of your secrets. Vampires, intriguing creatures, must lead fascinating lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Curious what you did after you were reborn.
As I'm sure you can surmise, but first I was thoroughly absorbed with recovering. As it is, I've still not recovered completely. Yet I was so weak the first year that I could not stand nor move on my own. Detlef bore my weakness bravely, showed great patience. If not for him, I wouldn't be here, and I'd have regenerated far slower. Once I could at last stand unassisted, I set off for Bruges, for my one-time home of Dillingen. There I led the peaceful life of a rural healer and surgeon, enjoying my neighbours' respect and, in fact, constituting the exact opposite of the monstrous vampire the populace imagines.
Bruges, you say? Rebirth make you sentimental?
Perhaps a dash. But what of you? Where have you been? Ever find your Cyrilla?
Back then, yeah. But we parted again soon after. And when the time was ripe, she came back, defeated the Wild Hunt together.
Ooh. Seems I certainly missed quite a bit while I was absent.
True enough. But it's a conversation we'll have another time. Need to know more about you now. Gotta ask you the big question. What everyone wonders about. What happens after death?
You wish me to tell you if the human belief in the gods is well founded? Well, that I do not know. We vampires differ exceedingly from you humans. Our matter, that of which we are composed, can exist without form. We require neither a heart, nor a brain, nor air to breathe.
But were you dead?
As humans understand death, yes.
Feel anything? Understand anything?
It's rather hard to explain. I felt something very unsettling. Something I cannot even name, for I did no reasoning. Only after rebirth did I begin to understand that what I had felt was cold and unimaginable fear. If not for Detlef, I might have drowned in an eternity of icy terror.
Can't have been alive then. Sheesh, experience like that must be vicious.
Indeed, it's hard to compare to anything I know. Yet you are aware we don't see death as you do. The way you cling to life, we find it entirely peculiar. You are mortals, ergo it's a foregone conclusion. You will die. It's but a question of time. Thus, I often find myself wondering why you try so very hard. To die at 20 years, 40, even 100, what's the difference? They're all but the blink of an eye.
Depends on your point of view. Man who's got 1,000,000 crowns to spend can't possibly understand one who's only got 20.
Very true. One's outlook can indeed change much.
Got a new life, a new body. That give you a new start, blank slate?
Starting all anew is a very broad concept. What exactly do you mean?
Your blood addiction, say. Wondering if your body's the same, if it still remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity is a natural reaction under the circumstances, apart from which I've always valued that trait in you.
Always fascinated me the way vampires can regenerate. A hand growing back is one thing, but Detlef recreating you out of a wet smear? Something else entirely.
A difficult and laborious process, but one that's possible, as my presence proves. But I've heard you too had quite the adventure. They say you lost your memory.
For a bit, but Triss helped me get it back. Actually pretty damn lucky I only had amnesia.
Yes, you humans are rather buggered in those terms. To strip you of life is, well, It's just plain easy. I've always pitied you in that regard. We vampires are much harder nuts to crack. If a member of another race kills one of us, we can be reborn with a living higher vampire's help. However, if one of our own strikes the deadly blow, death is permanent. There can be no rebirth. One of the chief reasons why vampires long ago swore never to fight one another.
All right, give you one question. What do you want to know?
One question to ask one as fascinating as you, Geralt. Cruel parsimony, I'd say, but I shall do my best to make it count. If you were to die and be reborn as I was, in your new life, would you choose to be a witcher?
Funny question.
See, Regis. Doubt I'd know how to be anything else.
Ever tried?
See, you're determined to get an answer, to find out if I like being a witcher. Just refuse to ask directly, as always. I like being on the path. I like picking up a lead, a trail. I like the tension right before a fight. And nothing gets my adrenaline flowing like battling a beast. Even gotten used to people treating me like a freak, an outcast. Yeah, not something I think about much, but I like being a witcher.
Thank you for being honest. Honesty is an attribute of the truly brave, and thus a privilege of the very few.
Still no sign of your winged friend. Sure it understood what you wanted?
Dead certain. Let's wait a bit longer. It'll return soon, don't doubt that for a moment.
Drank all through the night, looks like. Yeah, to be true to the books, though, Dettlaff should do a lot more pontificating about topics he knows about, and a few that he doesn't really know about, but thinks he does.
Ever vigilant, even in his sleep. Quite vampire-like, in fact. Are you absolutely certain they don't administer a few of our genes during the trial of the grasses?
Far as I know, none. Now what you got for me?
You were right. No kobolds or mamoons for miles around.
Knew it.
Allow me to finish. You see, there's this spotted white. It haunts an abandoned residence in the Caraberta woods.
Impossible. My brethren hunted down every last spotted white before I was born.
Then it seems you must revise your knowledge of spotted whites. For somehow this one managed to survive your brethren's onslaught. It seems I know this home it haunts. Recall a tale about it. Locals believe the place cursed. Perhaps that's how the white survived entirely unmolested.
Know anything else about this curse?
I don't recall much in particular. Really don't attach much importance to such things. It was mentioned to me as an anecdote, no more.
Come on, search your memory. Something, anything could be important.
I believe it had a relation to hunger, or, perhaps greed, rapacity. Someone was punished for something.
Textbook definition of a curse, pretty much.
Sorry, Geralt, I try not to clutter my mind with the details of every far-fetched tale I happen to hear. What are your thoughts?
A specimen of a species thought long extinct, and a curse in one place. That a coincidence, or are they related?
Ah, professional curiosity. Personally, I've nothing against you delving into this dilemma, but please remember we need the white's saliva. Nothing beyond that.
Whites rarely appear in the woods, even less likely to find them in abandoned human homes. They inhabit remote wildernesses, old abandoned cemeteries.
What's your point?
This might not be a spotted white after all. Your little helper might have made a mistake.
I sincerely doubt it. Ravens are devilishly intelligent creatures, and they've highly developed observational skills.
What exactly did they observe?
The area around the estate, it's covered in spoons.
Spoons.
Spare me the skeptical smile. I'm but the bearer of this news. Or perhaps this spotted white is a hoarder. Or the spoons are somehow related to the curse.
Let's do this. Start making your decoction while I go get some saliva from that white. Uses it in its brews.
Do you imagine the white will simply sell you some?
Worst case scenario, I'll bring you its salivary glands. They ought to do as well.
For a moment there, I imagined you asking the white to spit into a vial. Quite amusing as a thought, but the salivary glands will do fine indeed.
So, see you later.
Yes, till later. I shall start by perusing some tomes.
Tomes? Thought you were gonna make this decoction.
We require one last ingredient. Alas, obtaining it could prove a trifle toilsome. Thus, I hope to identify a suitable alternative.
All right. Good luck.
And to you, my friend.
Can we talk to Regis?
I shall set up my gear, start brewing residence. No reason to delay.
Apparently not. At least not yet. Yeah. Go figure, but the Beast of Beauclair is listed under beasts. Even though he's very clearly a vampire at this point. Oh, Archospores are cursed, as is the Toad Prince, as I had suspected. Under Dragonids, we've got the Dragon of Fearstall, which is actually a forktail. Got a Djinn under the Elementa. That's the only new entry here. Arachnomorphs. You remember those guys. Oh, and giant centipedes. That's another new entry. As are the Kikimors. Because we've been fighting Endrigas. Kikimors are only appearing in this region now. Pale Widows, those are the mutated giant centipedes. Scurvers. Spotted white. That may come up in the future. Apparently they're a necrophage. Oh, and regular whites. We did fight one when we were doing the tournament arc. Goliath, the giant. Hagubman, which is apparently an Ogroid. Ice Troll. Morwood, Shale Mars, along with one in particular. The Caretaker is apparently a relict. You remember him from the estate. Ethereal. And the Wraith from the painting. Bruxa, those are new. Ish. They appeared in the first game. Detlaf. Now that we know his name, his proper entry is under vampires, but for some reason the Beast of Beauclair entry still exists under the Beast section. Well, another specific Bruxa. But, yeah, that does it for the bestiary. I think I hit the button B by accident because it's close to M. But I figured, since we were there, we might as well just run through all of the entries we hadn't seen yet. As it is, we do have a whole ton of question marks left to explore. Although the spotted white is more or less in the neighborhood of the southern part of Toussaint. Come on, Roach. You can do it. Alright, I believe that's the caparison for the Geralt of Rivia outfit. But I may need to change the headpiece of the outfit, because it doesn't really match with the rest of it. Oh good, the guest room renovations are done. As I am in the middle of fighting a bunch of boars. By the way, what I am doing right now are the hard attacks, the heavy attacks. That's why there's this little bit more hesitation between each blow than normal. But in exchange, I am tearing the boar's health bar a new one. Alright, so the question mark I was heading towards is less than 100 meters away at this point. Just gotta get up this incline here. Oh, a vintner's contract.
To be honest, every last man Jacques in these parts has but wine and women on the brain.
Not that you're complaining, I imagine, Mr. Vintner.
That Gwent will be the end of me. I've lost again.
Some evil's afoot in that cave. It's made its lair there. It's swallowed Phil and whole. Oh, there, sir. I guess those swords on your back aren't there as festoons. Maybe you could help me.
Maybe. Depends.
Well, there's a cave that, to my mind, would be splendid for aging wine. Not over dry and none too moist.
But
Well, damn thing's full of noise. The arse-clenching sort. Clinkety, bangety, knockety kind. Sent McClarkin to sea been 2 days, and he's not back. I reckon it's ought to do with the Elven ruins. Oh, that about the cave. So, lend us a hand, will you?
could help, provided you can pay.
And as a vintner, you can pay quite a bit, can't you?
Agreed.
Fine. I'll have a look in the cave, see what lurks there.
So, yeah. This is a new addition with this game. Just random contracts that you can happen upon out here in the midst of the oh, what's making that noise? Yeah, random contracts that you could just sort of happen across. Alright, a gargoyle. So, yeah, I would say that the Elven Ruins are probably responsible for this, then. Those things don't just happen into caves naturally. Nice. What are we up to? Oh my, we're still a ways off, looks like. Yeah, even though strong attacks are good against bulky enemies like gargoyles, fast attacks that deal less damage, but you can get more of them in, are actually preferable. Because you can get up to that level 10 charge that much easier. I mean, assuming you don't just suddenly murder one. Anyway, that does look like that's it for enemies, and I have no idea what the heck was going on just there. I'm just glad it's over. It didn't screw me over in any way. Looks like there's also a couple of things to grab down here underwater. Some armor and nuggets. gold in these caves. I believe I did mention that Toussaint was once a great place for mines and mining, and that a lot of these caves were left behind by miners. But ever since the winemaking industry took off, they were instead used for aging barrels instead. But in the meantime, a lot of them have been filled with monsters, and that is why there are vintner contracts everywhere. I'm guessing that body was the steward, the vintner, sent down into the cave.
We'll talk without some carrot.
Is it over? Is it done? All clear now? Did you manage it?
Yeah, all taken care of.
Ha! And 4 core witches layabouts and freeloaders? Bollocks! Storehouse will be ready in 2 days at most. And here on in, you've cut rate prices on all my goods.
Not from around here, are you?
Nay, from Povis we are. Wandered south for the climb before the First War. Chills up north were giving me wifey lumbago.
What you got on offer? Wouldn't mind a glance.
Damn, before the First War. It's been here a while. There have been 3. Anyway, let's just sell all of your wine back to you here. Alright, that'll do. Also got a lot of valuables I can sell. I want to hang on to the painting, but everything else can go. Quite a lot of everything, too. I will hang on to the meteorite items, though. I can disassemble them into some valuable crafting materials. And the clams. And maybe the rings and other items, too. I'll need the gemstones.
So long.
What they pay.
Anyway,
That's it.
we'll have to continue the rest of this journey next time.